Welcome to another edition of the Walker Valley Football Coaches Show, sponsored by Wholesale Supply Group all season long. Once again, I'm Andy Morris here with Walker Valley head coach Drew Akins. It's week 4, Carter week, and your Mustangs are once again ranked number 6 in the Tennessee Football AP rankings. Coach, how's it going, man?
It's been good. It's nice to get out of that nasty taste out of our mouth after the loss last week. I was really proud of our kids and how they've responded and how they continue to respond. Coming even off that win, they didn't get satisfied with it. They kind of saw, when they work hard, what they can get from it. So it's been a really nice bounce back, and I'm proud of our kids and how we've responded.
So as Coach talks about the bounce back last week, once again, we'll give you that. Region game, first region game of the season against Ooltewah, 48-7 victory for the Mustangs over the Owls. And really impressive game offensively and defensively. 491 yards total offense for the Mustangs, and they held Ooltewah to only 112 total yards. 24 first downs for the Mustangs, 9 first downs for the Owls, and Walker Valley was 7 for 8 on third down conversions. That's a pretty good stat, Coach.
Yeah, I thought just all around wise, we were able to dominate the football game. It kind of took us a little bit to get started. If you go back and you look at the first quarter, I know we scored 14, but it was big plays. It was 2 third down and longs that we had to convert, and didn't get lucky. We made 2 good plays, don't get me wrong, but the first and second downs on those drives were bad. And then we had the drive with an interception too. So took us a second to kind of get started. Offensively and defensively, but I thought once we got there mentally, that physically we were pretty dominant for the rest of the game. So was really proud again of just the way we bounced back and were able to find a way to go win that ball game and really do it in a dominating fashion. So excited for our kids, excited to be 1-0 in the region. We talked a lot after that loss that all of our goals are still right here in front of us. Everything we want to accomplish is right there, and it's ours for the taking. And we kind of control our own destiny with that. So being able to start 1-0 in the region for the first time since I've been here is exciting for us. It kind of puts us in a driver's seat where we control our own destiny. Now we still got 2-3 really good region opponents in front of us with Ray, McMinn, and Howard. But at least we've started off on the right foot, so that's exciting for us.
So, Coach, talking Ooltewah game, let's dive in on the offensive side of the ball first. Very impressive game from quarterback Ryan Lay, 21 of 29, 331 yards through the air, 3 touchdowns, threw a couple picks, but overall had an outstanding performance.
Yeah, I thought Ryan played well. I think he's got to I know he's got to cut those mental mistakes. Those 2 interceptions were probably ill-advised at least, and really just not very good plays of, we talk a lot at quarterback of, hey, don't make a bad play worse. Don't make something that's kind of falling apart worse by turning the ball over. So I thought he put the ball in some pretty bad spots, especially that first interception that went to the defensive end. That's a tough spot, especially we've kind of talked about where to go from there. He didn't really know what to do with it. We gave him some options for in the future. Hopefully he learns from that. The second interception was an underthrown ball that he had just overthrown the ball, so I think he overcorrected on it a little bit. But other than those 2 mistakes, man, there wasn't a whole lot of issues out of Ryan's game. I thought he played a really good game. It was a great bounce back from the week before. We put a lot on our quarterbacks. In our offense, our quarterbacks have got to kind of drive our success. If our quarterback's not being successful, typically we aren't successful. So seeing him bounce back was really good for our kids. It was really good for him. I think it gave him a lot of confidence and confidence that we already have in him. We know he can do these things. That's why we demand so much out of him.
Yeah, he's been extremely impressive with his arm. Some of the throws he's made already this season, it kind of make you take a step back and say, wow, man, this kid can sling it.
Yeah, his arm talent's really impressive, man. It's something that, he has that gunslinger mentality that feels like he can fit things into all these little small windows, and he's got to just make sure that he understands how important the football is. I think that's his next step. He's got the talent. He's starting to make really good plays, but he's got to understand the importance of the football, and that's something we've talked about. And I think he's starting to understand, hey, it's better for me to take a negative play than take a turnover. So that's something we're preaching to him.
So with that being said, let's talk about the receiving core, Coach. These Walker Valley receivers have been impressive so far this year, especially last week against the Owls. A couple guys just off the top of my head, Cade Charda, 136 yards, 2 touchdowns. Also had 31-yard return yards as well. And then Aiden Gibson, who had 62 yards receiving and also had a touchdown. Talk about just really, you guys have a lot of options for Ryan to throw to.
Yeah, we had 9 different receivers catch a ball the other night. That's really impressive for any team. But for a high school team, it's really impressive to be able to spread the ball to that many people and for all of them to have some semblance of success. I thought Cade, obviously, again, in the first quarter, had those 2 big third down plays that went for a long way. Didn't get the ball to him the rest of the night, which is bad on my part, but I wanted to spread it around and kind of give these other guys that have worked so hard some love. And so I thought Cole Harbison had a great night. You know, he had 5 catches, a couple first downs, a couple plays where we were backed up behind the sticks, and he gave us, you know, manageable second and third down to be able to call those things. So Gibby, obviously, Aiden Gibson had a great night. His first high school touchdown, 6 catches, 67 yards. They played man on him all night. And we told him all week, hey, you're going to be one-on-one all night, and you just got to make plays in that one-on-one. You know, Spencer and Tucker Owenby had catches out of the backfield. Tristan McCann had a big catch over the middle right there before halftime. Blaine had a late catch on a smash route. So I just thought we were able to get the ball to a bunch of different dudes, and you see you can cover Cade, but you know now you got issues with Cole. You can cover Cole, but now you have issues with Gibby. You cover those 3, and now Tristan McCann's making a play. So just to be able to spread the ball out to those guys, and then you want to drop 8 and be, you know, prevent-like, then we can get it to our running back. So I was really proud of him distributing the ball and our play calling in that too.
Yeah, Coach, in a game where you put up 48 points on a defense, I think that's a great call on your end as far as getting Ryan to spread the ball around and get those guys that experience that they need. So awesome job on the offensive side of the ball. With that being said, defensive side of the ball held Ooltewah to 7 points, nearly held them to another shutout. This defense is really taken on your mentality as far as just being dogs, getting to the ball, 11 hats at the ball at all times. And you talked about Tucker Ownby and Spencer Jackson already. Tucker Ownby, 6 total tackles, huge influence on the defense side of the ball. And Spencer Jackson, who we named our defensive player of the game on the radio, had 6 total tackles and an interception. Not to mention Braxton Smith with an interception and Eli Denton with 8 total tackles. Really playing team football on defense.
Yeah, it's hard to even point one guy out because there's so many guys making plays. I thought we made a great adjustment. You know, early we were kind of sitting in base and they were getting third downs. It was just had a weird feel early. And Coach Harvey and Coach Ashby kind of made the decision there in between the first and second quarter to go with speed package where we put as many athletes on the field as we can get, and we started pressuring them. And that's when you kind of saw the energy pick up on defense. I thought they played really fast starting in the second quarter, and then second, third, and fourth quarter. They were able to really, really cause some havoc. Spencer with a great interception. If you watch that on film, man, he times it up so well and just undercuts that slant. And then the run after that was obviously really impressive. You know, guys that don't get seated in the box score with Day-Day, you know, playing man coverage all night on their single receiver. You know, not
very
giving up.
athletic receivers for Ooltewah as well.
For sure. You know, like we said in the pre-show, you know, they're a 4x1 team. So they're fast kids, and he was able to kind of lock down the boundary side all night. So really, really impressed with what Day-Day's been doing and him coming along. And then they just weren't able to run the ball, man. And when you can stop the run the way we stopped the run, it makes it really difficult for an offense, especially with guys like Miles Mann attacking, you know, even all our defensive line. But then we blitzed a lot. We brought Eli and Judah on blitzes in the middle, and they just couldn't handle it, man. And that attacking defense is kind of who we are, putting pressure on the quarterback where he has to make a quick decision. And that's something that we've got to carry over to this week because their quarterback's going to be really good.
That's right. So as Coach leads us into it this week, taking on Carter, this is week 4. When we come back from this break, Coach is going to give us a little idea of who Carter is and how the Mustangs are going to approach this Friday's game at Carter. So with that being said, we're going to take a quick break. I'm Andy Morris, joined by Walker Valley head coach Drew Akins. We'll be right back for the second half of the coach's interview, sponsored by Wholesale Supply Group. Welcome back to the Walker Valley Football Coaches Show, presented by Wholesale Supply Group all season long. I'm Andy Morris, joined with Walker Valley head coach Drew Akins for the second part of our coaches interview. This is week 4, Carter week. The number 6 Mustangs will travel to Carter this Friday. And Carter 3-0, 4A school, coming off of a very big emotional win for them against rival Gibbs, who they snapped a 7-game losing streak against last week. So hopefully the Mustangs can go up and face a team who's kind of coming off of a big emotional victory and maybe kind of not fully prepared. I don't know.
Yeah, I see so many similarities in who they are and who we are. You say they snapped a 7-game losing streak to Gibbs. Well, we snapped a 9-game losing streak last week to Ooltewah. We've never beaten them in our history. So we're now 1-9 against them. But you can kind of see the momentum that we've created is allowing us to be in these games that we typically, historically, have not been able to win. I see a lot of similarities in that. They're really good on social media. We really promote social media and our players through social media and our program through social media. Just the excitement they have around their program, the excitement that we have. There's a lot of similarities. Their young head coaches kind of come in, breathe some life into their program. They got some good quarterback play. They got good receivers. They throw the ball around. So there's a lot of similarities in what they do and what we do, and they have a lot of excitement. They anytime you start 3-0, no matter who it's playing against, and I can't really tell, their competition, their level of competition, but I know historically Sevier County is really good. I know some coaches at Gibbs, and I know they're well coached. And Knox Webb historically is a really good program. So seeing some of their wins and who they were able to compete against and really outscore is really impressive. So we're going to have to make sure that we take care of who we are and make sure that we stay on our blocks. Make sure defensively they're going to really test our secondary. So we've got to be prepared for those things because they're going to come in and they're going to expect to win. They have a different mentality than historically Carter's had. So we got to match their intensity and match their effort. And that's something we've been talking about for a while now. And then we have to be the more disciplined football team. We've talked a lot here the last 2 weeks about our effort and our discipline. And those two things, I think, are going to help us, be able to overcome any opponent that we have left. But if we ever get lazy with those things, if we ever lax off those things, typically you see performances that aren't as good by us because we don't have that extra effort or that extra discipline that we're looking for.
So, Coach, this is the first game of a 3-game road stretch for you guys. First road game of the season, all the way in Strawberry Plains. How do you get your team prepared to go after a team for their first game on the road, get them kind of out of their routine 3 games deep into the season this point, going into our 4th, and it's your first road game?
Yeah, it's something we're going to have to talk to our guys about this week. Hey, you got to remember, we're going to get on a bus. You're going to have 2 hours where you're just sitting around, all these kind of things, and just talking to them about what a road trip looks like, because this group of guys have never done this, especially for us to not only travel, but travel an hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes away. It's going to be something that we're going to have to talk to our guys about. And I think we've broken the trip up pretty well. We're so routine, man. We've gotten pretty good at this thing about, hey, this time we're going to do this time we're going to do that. So even on the road, we're able to time things up to where it's very similar to what it is at home. Leaving at a certain time, getting to dinner at a certain time. Typically after dinner, we go sit and watch a movie in our facility. Well, now you're going to do the same thing. You're just going to do it on a bus. You're going to rest during that time. You're going to kind of mentally relax, not focus, but get mentally relaxed during that time. And then once we get there, we're going to walk the field just like we do at home. We walk the field in pregame at home or away. So there's some differences, obviously, but we try to make it as routine as possible. And I think our kids feel that, and they kind of understand, hey, once this happens, we got to get this level of locked in. And then once this happens, hey, we're all the way locked in. And it, we have this little time where we got to kind of ease off, and then we run back out. So our kids understand our routine. We've been here 3 years now. They've kind of been through it. And the new guys that have become a part of us have really done a great job of just kind of easing into how we do things and seeing how we do things. So I'm excited to get on the road, to be honest. I love being at home, and I love our crowd at home, and I love the atmosphere that we've built here. But sometimes you go on the road and it's just about football. And sometimes you just want it to just be about football. And they have to deal with the gatekeepers, and they have to deal with the tickets, and they have to deal with the their student sections and both visitors and away and the police and all these things that go along with running a Friday night. We just get to go and play football, and we just get to go and coach football. So I'm excited to get on the road for a few weeks to let our kids kind of get out of the facility and kind of take our program out on the road and show people in Knoxville and eventually Smith County and Cleveland kind of who we are and how we run things. So I think our kids are excited about that too.
So as Coach just touched on, this Friday the game is at Carter in Strawberry Plains. That's September 10th. Then the Mustangs will still stay on the road for the September 17th game at Smith, and then they'll come back home for a close road game against rival Cleveland. We'll get into that when we get there. That'll be a fun one as well. So, Coach, talking specifically Carter, what can you tell us up to this point? Are they a run-heavy team? Are they a pass-heavy team? Are they pretty balanced? Are they a triple option team? What can we expect offensively from Carter?
Yeah, they're a quarterback-heavy team. So what I mean by that, 2 weeks ago, their quarterback had 40-plus passes and 15-plus rushes. So, that quarterback drives everything that they do. He's a good little quarterback. He's a strong runner. He's hard to take down. But everything they do kind of runs through him. They're a high-tempo team. I think what you're going to see out of them is snapping the ball as many times as I can snap it. Because, they believe, and you can see it on film, they believe in volume. They're just trying to get as many possessions. They're trying to steal possessions. They're trying to steal points. They're trying to do everything they can to make sure they have the ball as many times as they can and score as many times as they can. If that's going on for it on fourth down, if that's going for two, if that's kicking an onside kick, you're going to see a very unconventional way of doing things. And that's, as a head coach defending that's scary. It's something you've always got to be on your toes. You've always got to prepare your kids. Hey, watch the onside kick, watch the fake punt, watch the fake field goal. Hey, defense, stay out there. They're going for two. All these things that as a head coach you've got to pay attention to and make sure that your kids know what could possibly come next. And if it doesn't come, how to react when it doesn't. Then they don't kick the onside kick. Well, let's try to set up a return. And that's a lot. That's a lot to do, and they attack on offense. They attack on defense. I think you're going to see a lot of blitzing, a lot of moving. They got really good skill players on the back end. They got really good skill players at receiver. They do a lot of stuff, and they just keep you on your toes. So, it's going to be a great challenge for us. It will. Like I said, I think our defensive backs are going to really be tested this week. They got a receiver number 6 and a receiver number 1 that can really play. So we're going to have to make sure that we understand how to get lined up, how to get aligned, and then how to play once you're there. And that's something that our defensive staff is putting the plan together for. We're trying to practice it. It's hard to practice tempo, but luckily we go tempo too. So we're able to go best on best this week and kind of show them, hey, this is how fast it's going to go. And I think our players so far this week have done a good job of that. The past 2 games they've won have both been 42-35. So there's going to be points scored. They don't mind giving up points because they're going to go so fast that they're going to score points too. So hopefully, we can get some stops and not turn this into a shootout. Instead, we can kind of control the ball and control time of possession and not give them those opportunities. But we're going to have to make sure that we're paying attention all the time because they try to steal possessions every opportunity. They've started every game so far with an onside kick. So that kind of tells you they're just trying to steal possessions all the time. So
could we assume that they're the type of team that if they win the toss, they're going to want to receive the football?
I could see it, but I could see them saying, "Hey, we're going to kick off and we're going to onside kick it. Wow. We're going to get it twice."
Wow.
So they're very unpredictable, and sometimes unpredictable is scary, and this is one of those instances.
Sounds very similar to a Big 12 style type of offense.
Yeah, they're trying to score. Hey, give me the ball back. Give me the ball back. Whether you give me the ball back, with a special teams play, give me the ball back with a score. We don't really care. I just want the ball back. And they try to get volume plays. And that volume, you got to make sure that we're subbing on defense and resting guys so we're able to play, 80, 90, 100 snaps. I mean, it could be that kind of game.
So going over to the other side of the ball, what can Ryan Lay, Spencer Jackson, and company expect? Are these guys big up front? Are they a fast secondary? What's Carter defensively kind of like?
Yeah, in the back end, they're very, very athletic. So, they got they got a number 13, number 1, number 31. Those guys can all run in the secondary. They're big up front. Their defensive line has some really big bodies, and they attack. They blitz all the time. It doesn't matter what they're in. One thing you notice on film is they don't get lined up early for you. It's not going to be one of those things where you can look and you can see where they're going to be. You're going to have to just follow your rules, and that goes back to what I started with discipline. We've got to have great discipline in our rules offensively. If we say a three-man slide, those three guys have got to slide to their gap and pick up whatever shows up, because I can't tell you where they're going to be. I wish I could. I wish I could say, hey, you're going to have a shade, a 3, and 2 5s. But they don't give you that. They stand up, and right before the ball, they move to get lined up to where they want to be. And that's difficult, as an offense coordinator, of trying to predict where they're going to end up. It becomes a guessing game. You're dialing a telephone and hoping that you call the right play. And sometimes that works, and sometimes that doesn't. So we got to make sure that we call plays that are rules-based. And if we call plays that are rules-based and we follow our rules with great discipline, I think you could see us score some points. If we don't follow those rules, I think Ryan's going to get some pressure because they do bring some blitzes. Their linebackers are very active. So we got to make sure that we do those things as a staff and as players to make sure that we can be successful.
Coach, for our viewers and listeners, what time's kickoff? Kind of give the details of the game Friday night.
Yeah, it's 7:30 kickoff. I know there's been some confusion with that. It is 7:30 at Carnes, which is in Straw Plains. I would love to see a great following up there. I know it's going to be a great atmosphere. Their stadium's a really cool stadium. The bleachers are right on the field. There's no track in between. So it's going to be a really cool night, and it could be a great atmosphere. I know, historically we travel really well. And I've seen that over the last 2 or 3 years here, and I expect the same thing. I think we're going to bring a lot of fans. I think, again, there's a lot of excitement around their program, so I can see them having a lot. And it could be a really cool night for both programs. And, both programs are going to get tested, and that's going to be fun to watch.
So, once again, 7:30 kickoff at Carter High School in Strawberry Plains. If you're not planning on traveling to watch the game in person, you can catch us, myself and Coach Drew Linus, on the radio on Sports 99.1, formerly known as Fiesta 99.1. We will have pregame coverage for you starting around 6:30, kickoff at 7:30. We look forward to having a good crowd travel up to Strawberry Plains, but if you're not able to, join us on the radio. So once again, for the Week 4 Coaches Show, I'm Andy Morris with head coach Drew Akins. We're excited for this Friday. One Valley.